You're listening to The Hardpoint with Onexpunchxdad and Code Rome's.
Welcome everybody back to the Hardpoint. My name is Onexpunchxdad.
My name's Cody. I go by Code Rome's.
I thought I was being smooth, man. I got all jumbled up. It's been quite a run up today, and we're joined by a very, very, very special guest today. My dear friend Tyler Butterworth is with us. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Insert crowd noise.
Thanks.
Insert crowd
Thanks
noise.
for having me.
Yeah. We're glad you're here, buddy. 21st episode, 21 deep. Can't believe it. I'm flattered that you joined us today, man. It's a big deal to have you here.
Yeah, man. Happy to be here.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
My new friend, Tyler Butters.
Yeah.
New friends. How you guys doing this week? It's Easter week. It's a busy week for most families in America. How are we getting by?
I'm good. I'm fresh off a steak lunch, so I had a nice little Easter. Yeah.
Oh man. My wife brought home.
I'm doing good. The kids are on their way home from grandma's. We had an unusual Easter where my parents took the kids to the great grandmother's house. So it was just the wife and I this weekend. So it was good time.
Nice. Those once you start having kids, man, those become like a tiny little treasure that you don't realize you're gonna love so much. But man, I remember very specifically like our first overnight without kids as parents, and it was several years after we started having kids. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Well, congrats to you guys. Cody actually is expecting his first child that's due here in a few months. Actually, it's kind of upon us. It's getting close.
Man, we are like officially about 2 months away.
That's wild.
You know what you're having?
Yeah. We're having a little girl.
Nice.
And so first one. Super excited. Actually, just last weekend we painted her room. Not the entire thing. It was a wall. And when's the last time you guys painted something?
It's been about a year.
Because it sucks.
Yeah. Actually, this wall behind me, I painted that a couple months ago, I think.
Okay.
A beautiful OD green, I might add.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah.
It was a single wall, and it was way more than what we like. The work, the taping, barely had enough paint. You know, just way more than I thought.
Yeah. I paint to me is one of those jobs that like you're looking at it and you're like, it's not that bad, right? You just slap it up there. You slap it up there, you walk away, right? But there's the taping to me is the biggest pain in the neck. And then also like exhausting for me that there's so much of like holding your hands above your heads like to get those spots. That's exhausting.
We got like one of the rollers that you could hold with your hand, but then every video I was watching afterwards had like the extendo stick that you screwed it into and you could go top to bottom. I didn't have that, so I had to run up a ladder and then run down the ladder and run up the ladder and run down the ladder, and it was
Is that the formal name for that? An extendo stick?
Extendo stick. From the makers of Short Stick, it's an extendo stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just
it's fine. Speaking of, right before when we were saying like we're the only ones that would notice a little thing being wrong, you know, like where the paint bled through the tape a little bit on one of the sides. Like me and my wife are looking at it and I'm like, that looks terrible. And she's like, nobody is ever going to notice that except us. It's like the tiniest little bleed through.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Oh yeah.
Well, cool. That seems like a good natural pause there. I'd like to roll right into our first segment, which we've been doing for the last couple weeks here, called What Are You Crushing? Let's kick it to Tyler since he's our guest today. Tyler, what are you crushing, man?
I guess what am I crushing in the terms of like a show I'm watching? Let's see, where did I just come from? Texas. That's where I just came from, and I'm going to LA tomorrow.
Nice.
Busy man.
When I'm on the plane, I like to download different movies or YouTube videos of stuff I'm trying to learn. So I have been crushing sound design, trying to learn that by watching YouTube videos.
Nice.
But as far as like a show that I've been watching, it's something on Netflix. I can't remember the name of it. It's I'm trying to think how to.
Is it a newer show?
It's kind of like a what's that?
Is it a newer show?
It's a newer show. It's like in the top 10 right now. Hold on, go to my trusty tablet here. It's kind of like a crime thing about weed, and I don't know how to describe it.
Is it an actual show or is it like a documentary?
It is. Yeah, The Gentleman.
The Gentleman. Okay, that's why.
Oh, okay. All right.
Have you guys seen it?
I've seen commercials for it. It looks pretty good.
We
watched
really the first episode. The ending of first episode is pretty wild. No spoilers, but and then I think I fell asleep during the second one, but we're gonna get back into it. It's really good.
Do you mentioned kind of like studying as you watch. Now that you're kind of, because you really, in the creator space, I would say you produce what I consider to be the most pristine quality of stuff you can just find for free on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. Has it flipped since you started making content to where now instead of like, I'm just going to watch whatever, Lord of the Rings or, Seinfeld or whatever, do you now kind of approach everything you watch with kind of a like, let's see, they kind of ignored the rule of thirds there.
Look at these nerds. Yeah. No, I don't know. I honestly, I don't watch much TV. I don't watch movies anymore. I used to, even when I was still learning the videography and audio stuff and all that. Like in the beginning, I would watch stuff, but I rarely do now. When I do, I instead of focusing on like the technical aspects of something, like how something is shot or different gimbal movements that they use or whatever it is, what interests me the most in any show or movie that I watch is how the storyline progresses and the creative ways that they advertise or market things to the viewer. That's what I think is like super interesting, and that's what I pick up on more than like, oh, that lookup table that they use there is a really nice color grade. Like,
Absolutely. The Gentleman. I'll have to add that to my list.
It's really good. Yeah, it's really good.
Definitely. Cody, what are you crushing, man?
All right, buddies. This is a safe space, right?
We'll see.
Hold on, I'm going to write it down.
Yeah, we'll see.
No judgment. All right, we're all friends here. Yeah. Okay. Me and my wife have been watching Young Sheldon.
Oh, God. Really?
Huh.
I don't know, man.
I thought you were going to say, what's that other show? Not 90 Day Fiance, the other. Love is Blind. I thought you were going to say that.
Huge fans.
Yeah.
Love that show.
He loves Love is Blind.
You can't not watch it.
Yeah.
It's so okay. I'm not gonna try and sell you on Young Sheldon because I can't. She was watching all of it.
Yeah.
And I would just kind of like drop in and out of episodes. And it's funny. That's all I'll say. It's funny. Not gonna encourage you. I'm not gonna even recommend it. But if you happen to catch yourself in the middle of a Young Sheldon episode, you might enjoy it.
I will say I have no interest in watching Young Sheldon, but I have, for whatever reason, wound up on the corner of TikTok that is like nothing but Sheldon edits. It's all clips and edits from that show, and people like it has a strong support base out of nowhere.
Weird.
I've never watched The Big Bang Theory, like not even a second of it, so I don't know. It's pretty funny though. It's pretty funny. Don't go watch it. Not recommending it. What I've been crushing.
Fine. I'll allow it.
What about you, Josh? What do you got?
So I too am on a bit of a Netflix kick. The past couple weeks, as you know, I was watching Tiger King again. We've finally rounded out our Tiger King rewatch. I've watched everything Tiger King related that there is, and all I have to say in conclusion for that is, if people own giant cats, they're probably a piece of shit. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That what it boils down to.
That's what it boils down to. You got a giant cat in your yard, you're probably a piece of shit. Not one redeemable quality among those people. So
I just don't know how you could financially recover from
exactly from being such a tool bag. That not one normal like everyone on those shows is morally reprehensible on some level, and it's just like kind of a bummer. So coming off of the Tiger King thing, my wife and I were like, we need something that is kind of the opposite of that, because that was a bummer. Does not leave you with like a good perspective on humanity. So we got on to watching something that I never thought I was going to like, but I love, which is Love on the Spectrum.
Really?
Yes.
Wait, why does that get a pass and Love Is Blind doesn't?
No, I didn't say Love It. I would like to discuss this in full detail now.
Okay.
Why do you like it? Why do you like it?
I like it for 100% for its wholesomeness. It is so. Have either of you watched it?
I've seen like tidbits of it.
Yeah. So it is, for anyone who doesn't know, Love on the Spectrum is people who are on the autism spectrum entering into the dating space. So they're going on blind dates. They're going on, what are they called? Speed dating. They're meeting up with people trying to, and these are people that span the spectrum of like, you don't even realize they're autistic. They're kind of like, I don't know what the appropriate word is, like high functioning, I guess, to very apparent, like you can definitely read that these people are autistic. And they go on dates, some with normal people, some people without autism, and some people with, who also have autism, or some, there's a couple of them go on a date with people with Down syndrome, things like that. It is 100% like absolutely what we needed. It's very wholesome, and it absolutely, if you watch something that is a complete bummer, watch Love Is Blind, or not Love Is Blind. Don't watch Love Is Blind. Watch Love on the Spectrum. Love Is Blind is fine, but Love on the Spectrum cannot recommend enough, man. We've been crushing the hell out of that show.
Is that on Netflix?
It is, yeah. There's there's an Australian version. I don't know if the Love Is Blind Australia is on Netflix, but Love Is Blind US is on Netflix. He's
getting them mixed up now. Keep saying Love Is Blind.
I said Love Is Blind. Love Is Blind. Spectrum. Love on the Spectrum. Love on the Spectrum. Love on the Spectrum.
Got you in a chokehold, bro.
Netflix. I know. Yeah, I need to watch that one too, I guess. I don't know. The premise is interesting, but reality TV is tough for me to buy into.
Oh, are you talking about Love Is Blind?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Have you?
That
so
is
you
just
watch
like,
it.
It is comedy gold watching that. Like I die laughing every time I watch it.
Yes. I would like to say I watch it a little ironically. Like I watch it because it's funny and dramatic, not because it's like super serious or anything like that.
Yeah.
No.
It seems like a joke premise, like a situation that you would put these people into.
They take it seriously, but
oh my God. So my wife and we actually just wrote 2 little skits that we're going to do as individual little like minute-long videos to put on here on Instagram and YouTube and whatever, based on Love Is Blind. But if Love Is Blind, if we had already met and everything, we're already married and everything, but then you'll see, it'll be pretty good.
I can't wait.
It's all based on like the mannerisms and the words they use in the show. Like everybody says the same thing and reacts the same way to different things. Like it's amazing. I love it.
I gotta see what all this is about, man. I gotta see if y'all are being straight with me on Love Is Blind.
You'll love it.
Well, Love on the Spectrum as a perhaps an appetizer or hors d'oeuvre to Love Is Blind, maybe.
Sure.
Can't recommend that enough. It is very wholesome. Tyler, again, thank you for joining us today. I wanted to kind of pick your brain. You and I have met in person, which is that was a real treat. We got to hang out last summer, make a couple videos. Hoping we get to do that again soon. You just been on the warpath, man. You have been making videos now. Do you remember when you posted your first video on any platform doing what you do now?
I know the first video I posted was on Instagram. I can tell you all about the first video I posted.
Please do. Yeah.
I think it was about around 2 years ago. Might be less than that. Might be a little more than that. I really don't know. I'd have to scroll all the way back through about 700 videos since then.
Yeah.
But the first video I posted, I started all this out of like kind of not a necessity, but because I saw the value in it. If you want, I can tell you the whole story, give you the whole spiel if you want.
Take
all the deeds.
Take that ball across the goal line, brother.
All of it. Here it is. So I was serving as a recruiter with the Virginia National Guard. I went through the recruiting school, and they taught us, how to contact people and all the, things that we learn as recruiters, how to get people in. Came back to my duty station after the school and started doing the high school recruiting thing. I'm standing behind a table and talk to some kid about the infantry or shooting a machine gun or whatever it was. And I asked him, I'm like, man, this is going really well. I'm going to ask him. And I'm like building up the courage to do this. I'm like, hey man, what's your Facebook? And he just like looks at me for a minute and he's like, my mom has Facebook. And I'm like, thanks, you little brat. I didn't say that.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So I asked him what he has and he told me Instagram and everything. And I'm like, all right. So I asked, a female that I enlisted, I asked her, do you use Instagram? And she's like, yeah, if we're going to hang out and stuff, we have a group chat that we all message each other on. I'm like, wait, so you're like communicating with each other on this thing? And she's like, yeah. So I'm like, dang, that's probably a good way to like communicate with people that we're trying to get in the military. So that's honestly why I started it. Fast forward to now, it's definitely not why I do it now. I do it for, to make people laugh and to make people feel good. And it makes me feel good doing it. But so the first video I did was, the typical 30-some-year-old dude that's a recruiter in the military trying to make a video that's going to get people to join. So I put my uniform on and I was super serious like everybody else in a uniform. And I sat there like this with my phone in front of me and I was like, hello, my name is Sergeant Butterworth and I'm a recruiter in the Army National Guard and blah, 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 blah. And I just went on and on and on and it was super boring. And, my mom liked it and my wife and a whole bunch of people. So I'm like, man, I killed that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So I made like 3 or 4 more of those. And then at that point I realized like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Like this is what everybody's doing.
Right.
So I like to joke around. I like to, be funny and sarcastic and, all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, I'm just going to be myself. Like, I'm not going to break any rules. I'm not going to do anything that would make the uniform look bad or myself or my family. So I'm just gonna try to be funny and do things that I think people want to watch, and it worked out pretty well doing it that way.
I'd say so, man. I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy to think about you coming into this and trying to do, I guess what would be like the typical Army thing of like, it's just how we talk when we're briefing or talking in an official capacity. Like it's very deadpan. Right. It's, even the jokes are kind of like, you can laugh at it with your lips together type of jokes. Like, oh, he made a sports reference. So like the flip from that to what you do now and what the content you make now is I have to imagine that took a lot of work to kind of get past a lot of the barriers. I know personally it was kind of a vulnerable feeling putting on the uniform and showing people how I really want to act when I think something is funny and how that manifests in me was kind of terrifying because, especially you're a senior NCO, chief warrant officer, when you do want to act like that and you want to cut loose and really commit to a joke, because really, in all honesty, if you want your content to do well, you have to be committed to the joke. You cannot half tell these. You have to throw in some pizzazz, I guess, little joie de vivre to kind of make people believe that it's funny. That's why we watch comedians on TV. So. Yeah, man, I can't imagine how much work that was for you personally to kind of arrive at that place where you're like, I've got to step out and I've got to be more than just a guy talking on his phone.
Yeah, so I started making the videos, and I think even in the beginning, my chain of command and recruiting and all that, they were like, man, this guy's wasting so much time doing this. And so then it became a thing where it's like, hey, you're not making enough phone calls, because that's something that we use in recruiting to like quantify the work that you're doing and how many people you're reaching and all that.
Are cold calls still, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but are cold calls still like a significant piece of it?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, highly successful.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, so I said Roger Sargent to the guy that told me to make more phone calls, and I did that, and I'm like, well, this is silly. I did it, but then I'm like, you know what, I'm going to make a video, and I'm going to do it in a way that's going to make people laugh, but it's also going to give them a little taste of what the military is and maybe a tiny little bit of information.
Yeah.
And so that video I did got, I think, 2 million views or so.
God.
And I ended up enlisting like 2 or 3 people off of that one video.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So once I did that, then, you know, I told my NCOIC what's going on, you know, my boss, and he's like, don't worry about those phone calls anymore, buddy. So,
nice. Got yourself out of the cold calls.
Fast forward 10 years, and now recruiting station commanders are harassing their recruiters about not making enough TikToks. Like, how many TikToks?
Hurry up.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, do they look at the ones that like don't have a platform or don't post and like, well, you need to keep up with, you know, or take some notes on these other guys?
Yeah, it's really, I mean, everywhere I go, so I go around the country and I kind of train this, and I put on training for this and talk about it, but it's really, it's dependent on the person. You know, if you can have one person in one recruiting organization that is very good at social media and knows how to use it to the advantage of the entire company or battalion or company, whatever it is, you know, it's going to benefit everyone. You know, I didn't enlist millions of people, but I can definitely say that a lot of people maybe consider the military from watching my videos, just like Josh's videos and these other guys that do the same thing. So
Sure.
It has a lot of impact, but it's much more than that to me now.
Yeah,
absolutely. It really, you know, and I think for a lot of companies, even because, you know, like you cruise TikTok and Instagram and you realize, like, you know, there's some instances where you or I are more successful than a restaurant chain or an actor, even, who's like trying to get on TikTok and trying to get a following there. And it's them, right? And they kind of have that notoriety of being whatever restaurant or food line or company that is known the world over, but they're not playing the game of vying for people's attention, which is ultimately, you know, if you're making short form content or you start in short form content, that's the game. It is, how fast can I grab your attention, put it in a headlock, and give it a noogie, and give it back to you 60 to, you know, 120 seconds later? You know, that is not something that everyone can do. You've kind of, in the last, I think it's been about a year, you have kind of rolled out what I think you're probably most known for, which is the ASMR response back and forth. For anyone who doesn't know, which I can't imagine there's a lot of people who don't know listening right now, but
it's the blonde Mercedes chick, right?
It's normally like some, like, you know, smoking hot chick who's like doing something to a car, like flicking it a lot. And and then Tyler very, very hilariously does, just pretty much repeats it, but it's like a Humvee or an LMTV or something. What gave you that idea? And like, how on earth, like, that's another like, just take us down that hole, man, because that's an amazing content line you've rolled out.
Yeah, thanks. So I didn't actually come up with that. I was in Washington State doing social media training for them. And so I was doing that. I was at a fair helping them with recruiting. I'm sitting at this fair. There's a Humvee right there that we're sitting in, staying out of the sun. And my wife sends me a text with that video, the first one that I ever did, the blonde Mercedes girl.
Yeah.
So she sent me that video, and it was just her video. And she goes, you should do this with a military vehicle. And so I'm like, all right, my wife tells me to do something, I'm going to do it. Yeah. So I did it. I had the private that was sitting next to me. PFC Bates was his name. Yeah. I was like, hey, man, I want you to just use this cell phone. I'm going to put these microphones on so it's a little bit better audio. And I want you to just try to match these camera movements that you see them doing with the cell phone. Like, pretty simple.
Sure.
So he did that, and we just did it frame for frame. I airdropped that to my computer. I edited it up real quick in about 10-15 minutes, and then I just let it fly. I'm like, that'd be a cool video. And so I think I had like 30,000 followers before I uploaded that video. And so I uploaded it, and then I think I went back to the hotel room, and back in those days, like even now, like I always try to find some new concept or new kind of idea, creative way of like putting stuff out there, even if it's just to make people laugh. And so that's what I was focused on then. But I just remember my phone was just like, it wouldn't stop. It's just going on and on and on.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
How long ago was that one?
Oh man, it was,
because that was the first video I ever saw of yours. Like that was the first one that came across my feed.
Man, I honestly, I don't know. I think it was
it's like early last year sometime. No?
Maybe early last year. It was warm in Washington. I know that. Sure. It wasn't too cold. Okay. So sometime around then. But so anyway, I saw the notifications, and then I'm like, before I went to bed, I had gained like 2,000 followers or something. I'm like, wow, that's incredible. I gained that many in that short of time. I got up the next morning and I had gained like 10,000 followers. And then fast forward to the next day, I think I gained like, off of that video alone, I think I gained about 90,000 followers.
Oh,
yeah. So then I'm like, this is a good idea. We have so many vehicles in the military. I'm just going to go around and flick everything.
What can I flick next?
Yeah. So I found the dealership, their page, and I found all the videos, and I'm like, wow, they definitely, I mean, they were putting out a video a day at the time of this kind of content. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep doing these. And so I did. And then I just try to find the next thing. And I got a new line of parodies that are coming out soon that I have not released yet. Pretty good.
Excellent.
Man, you got a lot of content coming. Looking forward to that. Yeah, man. What is, before we started, you said you had a funny story of something that just happened a moment ago.
Yeah. So have you seen the videos of, it's a female that is wearing yoga pants, classic, and she's standing behind it's usually like woodworking equipment. And she's standing there, and she's like standing like this, like at a weird camera angle to where it's not really making sense what she's showing you, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah.
And so she goes, here, I can give you a better,
here we go.
Visual here.
Yeah, baby.
Here you go. So she's doing like this, and she's like, this is a Wood-Mizer LT5000, and this is how we cut our wood. And that's what they would do for literally everything that they post in their wood shop or whatever they're selling. Instead of holding something up and saying, this is Morgan Wallen's tea and it's really good.
Sure.
They do. This is Morgan Wallen.
That's what sells, baby.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh, the old algorithm stance is what I said.
Stance.
So I saw that video and I'm like, all right, this is hilarious. I was actually standing down here where my cameras and lighting and everything is. And I was messing with the camera that's right in front of me that I record my YouTube videos with, and I had just seen that video. So I took my cell phone and I set it right here, and I filmed myself, and I'm like standing at the awkward angle, and I'm holding the camera, and I'm like, this is the Sony FX3, and this is what I use to record my YouTube videos or whatever. And I posted it. Well, that was probably 2-3 weeks ago. Fast forward to like literally an hour ago. That page, which is like a woodworking thing, they messaged me and they said, hey, you need to tag us in this content. And I was like, okay, sure, no problem. So I tagged them, and I tagged them in both videos that I've done of that kind of parody thing. And I got to talking to the person, I think it was her husband, And I'm like, hey man, I just want to let you know, like your marketing and what you're doing for advertising is genius. Like in all seriousness, like it's working. Your page is growing. It seems like your business is growing. You're using what you got. You know what I mean? It's being successful.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is after I talk to the guy a little bit more, I find out that he's a police officer and his wife is a police officer as well.
Wow.
And so that, to me, the most interesting part is like that shows how similar all of our sense of humor is in this kind of space, like military, law enforcement, all that. And so he's like, yeah, man, we totally were doing it as like a funny thing. Like it's just, we thought it was funny. And I'm like, perfect.
Were your videos doing better than theirs? I feel like if the original person is reaching out to you saying you need to tag me in that, it's because yours is doing better than theirs, and they're trying to like ride the coattails.
Right, and naturally so. Like normally, I do try to tag people that I do the parody videos of, because honestly, I think some people think that I'm making fun of them or just straight up like mocking them. I'm mocking the idea of it, or I'm mocking the like how silly it is. I'm not making fun of the person, and nor do I want people to think that I'm making fun of them, because I'm not. Like I legitimately think that what they're doing is hilarious or creative, and I'm like, I just want to try this myself because I think it's hilarious.
Dude, the one I just saw it today, but it's you strap the broccoli to your forehead, and it's those guys doing the weird like thing. And then it goes to you and you have the broccoli hair. Oh, that was whatever they were doing in that video. I had never seen those before, but you're right. I was just like, what on earth is that?
Yeah.
I think you made a good point though. Like it does feel so unnatural to want to like let those feelings of those jokes and that sense of humor come forth in our line of work, like just whatever, first responders and military and type stuff. The irony of that is that it's in almost all of us. Very few of the people that I work around or have worked around for the last 16 years. I mean, I've worked with my share of like sticks in the mud, but for the most part, for the large part, everyone's funny. Like, you know, you get into a good squad or on a good team or on a good staff, everyone's cracking jokes. You know what I mean? Everyone wants to laugh behind the scenes. But this belief that in real life we have to, or well, when we're conducting business, that it's just deadpan all the time, especially for a lot of the Army's like public facing stuff that they've done. I think they're kind of maybe catching on to it a little more with, you know, not to gloat, but like our success kind of showing them like, hey, maybe it pays to show people that we have a personality a little bit. You're a pretty integral part of that, man. It's amazing to see how wholesome you've managed to keep everything the whole way through. That's one of the first things I usually tell people about you that are surprised that we know each other is like, yeah, man, Tyler has 100% not let it go to his head. And that's, it's surprising. You know what I mean? It's easy, I think, you know, I've felt it, you know, when you have people coming up to you when you're walking around a PX or something like that and they're recognizing you or they're reaching out and asking you for career advice, you know, but you've kept it cash money, man. I'm impressed by that.
Yeah, well, thank you. I don't know. I enjoy doing it, and I realize that a lot of people watch it. I mean, the kind of the like defining moment for me was when I started getting all these messages. So I meet people everywhere I go. I mean, the flight attendant on the last flight that I was on, she recognized me and came back and like sat next to me and, you know, talked to me for a while about my videos and all this. Like, it's just really neat connecting with people like that. But I got a message of somebody that was, I guess their mom was in the hospital and ended up dying from cancer. And they said that when she died, she was watching my videos and it was making her smile. So it's like, I'm literally never going to stop making these videos because of that. Yeah. And I won't. I mean, that's what makes all of this worth it. You know, anything that comes as a result of this is great, but I just like doing it because it makes other people feel good.
Yeah. That really,
definitely,
you know, I think it's so easy to want to make your content more trying to think of how to frame it. Like, you know, there's been times where I've wanted to make content that maybe pushes the envelope a little bit more, or goes to maybe a darker place, and it's, you know, it's I think it always serves the community better to keep humor and comment. I mean, you know, both of us, we're comedic creators, right? So that's kind of like our linchpin thing, but keeping that as your focus and keeping people laughing, you know, and not, you know, there's always the temptation, like when some kind of like people want me to react when something terrible happens. They're like, we want you to, like, they don't even ask. They're very demanding. Like, hey, you know, when the, you know, not to bring the vibe down, but when the airman went in front of the White House a couple months ago and lit himself on fire, I had people in my DMs telling me that it was my duty to respond and make some kind of like sweeping statement about that and divulge my personal thoughts.
Expecting it.
Yes. Yeah. It was like, where's your video about this? And I was like, there is no my video about that. That's not, that's not what I'm here to do. You know what I mean? But, do you kind of, just going back to like your maybe your inspiration a little bit, you talked about watching Netflix and not making it like a study event for you, which is good. I think it's good to unplug and just like, hey, I'm just going to receive this as entertainment for sure. What do you get inspired by? Do you have any like prominent, I know, you know, doing comedy, do you have a comedian or maybe a writer that kind of touches your soul in a way that's like, I want to kind of shape my voice to that a little bit?
No, I wouldn't say I have a writer or a comedian or anything like that. I grew up watching any movie with Will Ferrell in it.
Sure.
Hell yeah.
He is hilarious.
Child of the 2000s. Yeah.
Yeah. I like you know, I grew up watching Mad TV and SNL. It was like a big treat if we got to watch that on, I think Mad TV was Friday night. I can't remember.
Yeah.
We got to watch that, and then Saturday Night Live on Saturday night, and that was like a big deal. We, as a family, we would all sit and watch that. And, you know, to me, that's back when things were funny and everything wasn't politicized and negative in like the negative undertones about whatever it was that is funny, you know?
Sure.
So I think that kind of like sketch comedy like that, the Will Ferrell style, the Saturday Night Live, I will tell you, I'm getting ready to start one of the new series things. I'm waiting on a wig to get here.
Break out the wig, baby.
Some different shirts. And I actually will challenge anyone that is thinking about doing this as well, based on my idea to try it. I am going to start doing, I love to cook. I love to bake, for real, in real life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find all of my favorite Martha Stewart recipes, and then I'm going to recreate them myself with my Martha Stewart wig, my pastel shirt on, and I'm going to do it in her style, the way that she does all of her cooking videos.
I love it.
Yes.
And I think it'll be pretty good.
That sounds awesome.
That's amazing, man. I love that.
Do you, I'm kind of wondering, so I've known Josh my entire life, and he's always been like a theatrical, artsy person. So a platform like TikTok or Instagram where he can just post something and then kind of blast it to a bunch of people. Him being successful on that, it's always just kind of made sense to me.
Yeah.
What were you like kind of growing up? Were you artsy, theatrical, or is this all like a giant surprise to you that you found some success like this?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. Nice.
Good job.
So solid. I played the violin in elementary school and maybe middle school.
Really?
But yeah.
Wow.
I don't even know how to hold one at this point.
Can you still shred? Oh, okay.
Yeah, real shred. And didn't you hear me on the intro? Come on, dude.
Yeah, that was all him.
But no, I was in chorus all the way through elementary school, all the way through high school, and I actually was in an a cappella group where we went over to Europe and we sang in the Vatican and we did all this kind of stuff. So
wow,
I do like to sing.
Lore drop.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, so I listen to music a lot. I would say that is my artsy side, that and the videography at this point. But
Definitely.
no, I think in terms of like blowing up on social media and getting a lot of views and popularity and all that, no, I didn't expect that at all. You know, I talked to my buddies that I was cops with and I was a detective with, and they're like, "Who are you, man?" I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. See, I've kind of been a goober my entire career, so when people find out that I do this now, they're like, yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah, you were a clown before you were doing that, so this tracks for you, man. It's very on-brand behavior.
Yeah.
What about your, like, before all this, what was your level of just like the editing and the sound design and color and just recording things? Like, do you have any sort of, no, never into that growing up or anything? Just all a result of the success?
I was into taking pictures and like time-lapse photos and all that when I got home from Iraq in 2008.
Sure.
But that was like just something I was trying to learn. I thought it was cool, but you know, that has nothing to do with video or sound design. Video, if you think that a photographer and a videographer are the same, then you are horribly mistaken.
Oh, I can't imagine.
But no, I didn't know anything about that. I've never taken any college classes about, you know, acting or videography or anything like that. You know,
so anything that you've learned or anything you know now has just been trying to kind of keep up with, you know, I guess the success that you've had, just trying to take it to the next level, keep the quality up and everything.
Yeah, I mean the idea for me is that I want to always continue to make better things. I want it to be I want it to be funny. I want it to be funny, informative. That's like a winning combination.
Sure.
But then I also want it to be something like that looks good. Like I want to be proud of it. I don't want it to be something that I just slap together to slap something together. Because I think as like creators, we can definitely feel like that sometimes, and I know I do. I know when I film a video and I'm like, yeah, I'll just put it out there, and then I do, and I'm like, why'd I do that? Like, I was just didn't need to do that.
You rush it to failure because you're eager to just get it out there sometimes.
Yeah, and it's not. And if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, like it's not necessary. I don't need to do that, and nobody does. Like you shouldn't feel like you have to do it. If it's taking the fun out of it, and you're not actually being creative, then
there is
shouldn't be a job.
It's kind of a two-parter to that question. Undoubtedly your content is by far not just in military content but on the platform as a whole, on TikTok, YouTube and Instagram, everywhere else you post. Your polish level is miles ahead of where most people are at. Was there a point, because I know you said your first video you just gave it to a kid and had him film for you, at what point were you like, we need to up the stakes and we need to start working with a real camera, and I want to start adding, you know, I was blown away when we were making content last year. Like, this dude has a veritable arsenal of just gadgets and attachments and gimbals and stuff. At what point were you like, let's take this to the next level?
I think it was learning the different style of content. Like, so I'm like, all right, I have a phone, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to get the newest iPhone because it has a good camera. I learned that. I researched, you know, how to make better videos with a cell phone, with an iPhone, whatever it was at the time. Then I learned about how to make better sound quality with an iPhone. And once I kind of like master something like that, then I'm going to move on to the next thing.
Sure.
So then I got a full frame mirrorless camera. The Sony A7C was my first ever video camera that I got.
Yeah. Thing's a monster.
And so I learned that thing. I learned it pretty well. I used it, and then I realized the limitations on it, of what I couldn't do. And then that's when I jumped to the, you know, much fancier, the Sony FX3 is what I have now.
Can you nerd out over that stuff? Like, are you a gearhead? You just love all the gadgets and everything?
If I turned this camera around right now and you saw all the stuff that was in front of me,
do it.
You'd be nerd. No, I'm not going to.
It's all good.
Trademark,
it's all good.
copyright.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I want to reveal the secret sauce.
Yeah, no, I can't do it. But no, learning that kind of stuff, like it's like I could watch YouTube videos, and I watch YouTube videos about like an ND filter. I'll watch 4 YouTube videos about an ND filter until I understand how it works and which one is the best one for what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then I just go on to the next thing. Lighting, sound design, a digital slider.
Just master one thing at a time, and then move
Love
on
it,
to
man.
the next.
I mean, it's exciting. Like I love every aspect of it. Like the idea of like standing here and making a video. Like if I was recording with this right here, like that's only going to do so much. But if I add in multiple cameras and I have stereo sound as opposed to just mono sound, like it's so much more appealing for the viewer. And so if I can do that to make somebody's experience funny and they're like, wow, this is really good, then to me that's worth it. That's what I like to do.
Definitely. Do
When you blend quality audio visual with quality content, that's a winning formula.
Exactly. Yeah, man. It complements what you're already doing, which was already very funny and had that ability to just do crazy numbers and make people laugh and hold, like I said, put their attention in a headlock. You were doing that without all the stuff, and I think that's why you've continued to do well, is continuing to make great content and coupling that with adding a pristine quality to that content. Man, it's insane to watch, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks. I appreciate it. I love to do it. I mean, I legitimately love making videos. I really do.
And that's very apparent, man. Like I want to tell you, like, having been making content for as long as you and I have, like, you start to see creators, I've even felt it, like they don't love what they're making all of a sudden and they feel kind of tied to it, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of that is the algorithm saying like, no, you're going to make the thing. You're not going to start anything else. You're going to make the thing.
Yeah.
But the joy and the vigor that you have for the content that you make is always very apparent, man. So
yeah, I when I first started, I remember that you were the first like military creator that I watched in the very beginning, and I'm like, dang, I want to be like that dude. He's hilarious.
Look at you now, big dog.
Yeah, whatever.
Look at you now.
How many times have y'all met?
Just the once.
The once? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
just the once.
Yeah.
And I remember when I met you for the first time, and I remember what you said later on, like after we met. I think after we filmed some stuff and then we went and had dinner. But when I first met you, like as the viewer of your stuff for so long, I'm like, man, this dude's gonna be hilarious. Like he's gonna be like, you know, Robin Williams or whatever in person. But then I met you and you're just like, hey man, what's up?
Yeah.
And so I remember I met you, I shook your hand, and I went back there, and we're all like Jacoby, Fiscato, and I think is that everybody that was there?
There's another bald guy. I can't remember his name, but he was nice.
Smith.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're all standing there, and you were changing or something, and I was like, "What do you guys think?" And we're all like smiling at each other, and we were like, "I mean, he's more quiet than we thought."
Where'd y'all meet? Like
I had a work trip in DC, and he's near DC, and I told him, I was like maybe a day before, it may have been the day I flew out. I was like, hey man, I'm gonna be close. Let's do a thing.
Dude, that was a big deal. I told my wife, I told my kids, like, yeah, I'm gonna meet the dude. I'm gonna meet the guy that I've been watching forever.
It was a big deal for me too, man.
I was super excited. I mean, we all were. Jacoby drove down from Pennsylvania, like 3 hours away or whatever.
Yeah.
It was a big deal. But
We hung out for like 5 minutes, and instantly we were all getting in uniform, and we were just we made 5 or 6 videos that day. Nice. It was like a whirlwind, but it was amazing. It was really, it made me very like wishful that we could just like zip out and do that on an afternoon someday. Man, what a good time. But yeah, man, I again just blown away by your humility and all your success, man. I was kind of telling Cody, because he was like, man, I'm kind of nervous about meeting this guy, and I was like, dude, it's any fears you have about like, it's very much you're a very relatable guy, and keep it cash money.
I don't know. I think that's the weirdest part about all this, is that I do, wherever I go, I'm recognized, and people want to take pictures with me and all that.
Sure.
For anybody that's watching this, I encourage that. instead of standing there and staring at me awkwardly, come over and ask if you can take a picture. Because it's even worse when you're just like,
we see you when you do that. Yeah.
Or Josh said last week that he was in a restaurant and somebody just zoomed in on him from across the restaurant.
They did.
And posted it, and they're like, oh,
I was on a date at Buffalo Wild Wings with my wife, and I would get home later that night, and I'm flipping TikTok, and I see a video of me across the restaurant. Someone was like, I found him. It's like, dude.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Well, shoot, man. If you got time, man, I would love to have you participate in our question portion. Do some quick Q&A, and we'll send you on your merry way so you can get back to making great content here.
Sounds good.
Cool. For those of you listening, if you go to our description, you can join our Discord. We've got a channel in there specifically dedicated for question and answer. You can jump in there, ask us anything you want, and we will, if it's a salient question, we will read it on the show and perhaps give our very sincere and definitely not jokey responses.
You might get red.
You might get red, as Cody likes to say. Let's see. This one comes from Brad Rules 1. Brad Rules 1. Thank you for writing into the show.
Brad.
So I'll expand this to all gas stations. It is Shopette specific, but Cody, you can weigh in on this as well. What is your favorite roller item from the Shopette QT 711? So anything that's on the gross rotisserie grill. I'm going to come out with my answer because it's not even a question in my mind. Cheeseburger hot dogs are a phenomenal gift from God, and I will die on that hill. If you take a burger patty and you just knead it up into a little weenie and you put a little cheese in that.
Stop doing that.
Oh man. Oh man. Man, oh man.
You're like working it into shape. Like
you get a little Play-Doh snake spin, you know what I'm saying? Man, oh man. That cheeseburger hot dog is coming for me, man.
That's not my answer. Tyler, you got one?
It's like, well, that was weird.
Yeah, we really got into that one. I have never had a roller item at any military base ever.
Yeah.
In 18 years.
Not at like
what about a gas station?
7-Eleven?
Like,
nothing?
Oh, yeah, gas station. I've had the like taco and cheese, like the taquitos.
Taquitos, okay. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Those are
man. I got a without question favorite. It's that Quick Trip, and it's like the hot dog that's wrapped in a pancake.
Okay.
Those are fire, bro.
Hold on, man.
So good.
Those are
hot dog and a pancake.
A breakfast delight. A little bit of syrup dunking in there.
Dude, they are really good.
They are.
Really, I do recommend that. Unlike Young Sheldon, do go get one of those.
Do go get a pancake corn dog. Absolutely. I will say egg rolls are never good off of those things. The only time it's good to eat an egg roll is from a restaurant. Anytime there's too many egg rolls that are like out in the wild, and I love a good, decently made egg roll.
Put that on a T-shirt. There are too many egg rolls out in the wild.
There's too many egg rolls out in the world, but not eating the egg roll off the rotisserie. What about just a regular ass hot dog?
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Yeah.
I love hot dogs.
Is there my favorite way to eat a hot dog is off the grill. I really don't like boiled hot dogs. Like the idea of like they're all
about this.
Just taking a fucking bath together.
You said what is the most unappetizing way to warm a weenie, and it's to drop it in some hot water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That
I know. Let's boil them.
Yeah.
It still looks uncooked. It's just hot.
Look at this.
Yeah, this mostly warm weenie.
No char.
Grilled hot dogs are delicious, though.
Yes. I agree. Got to get that char on them, baby.
Thanks, Brad Rules.
Let's see. Here's another one. Good morning, gents. Chief, I spent some time carrying the M249, so the SAW squad automatic weapon, and I loved it due to me being a large human. What are your thoughts? And for both of you, or all of you, what's y'all's favorite weapon system do you have one? Do you have one, Cody? Also, they extend that to you. Let's see. We'll stop it right there. Tyler, I know you were infantry, so you definitely, I'm sure, have probably maybe a favorite out there. I'll kick it to Cody first because Cody's a civvy, a dirty civvy. Do you have like a favorite like setup or rig? I know you are a occasional firearm appreciator.
Man, yeah. I mean, I've shot limited firearm. I was gonna give a Call of Duty answer. My favorite setup in the game.
That's okay. That's fine.
Because I don't know. I'm gonna go MP5. That thing always ripped.
Yeah.
Good results for me. So
that's true.
A little gold MP5. I can only speak to what I know. So we shoot at our like grandpa's land, but I always felt like those were like old wooden revolvers and like I don't know, man.
Old
Never
guns.
shot the saw. Or, yeah,
for sure. Tyler, you got a favorite?
I do think the scars are badass.
Scars are cool.
Yeah, those are
scars are
cool.
sick.
I've always been a 240 Bravo back when it was still a Bravo. It's a Lima now.
Oh,
I've always
baby.
been a 240 guy.
Nice. Big boy.
My favorite. Yeah.
It's a big, bulky boy.
What is that?
It's like a saw, but it shoots. Yeah, it's a machine gun, but it shoots 7.62 instead of 5.56.
Okay.
So actually, a very crisp pop to that one. I do kind of like that one. That's a good one.
Love it.
Has that got like the belt like hanging off of it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's bulky. It's very bulky, but it'll give you a tickle.
You got to be a certain height and weight, I assume, to wield one of those.
Usually they'll either give it to the big guy in the squad, or as a joke, they'll give it to the littlest guy, and that's funny to watch. I don't know that I have I mean, like I like shooting an M4, just good old, the starter, Yeah. Have you shot? I know you've kind of been doing a little bit more like admin type stuff, but have you shot the new issued sidearms yet? The M17s, I think.
I haven't. Have you shot one?
I have. My buddy actually bought one. He's a company commander, and he was like,
nice.
It's issued weapon, so I might as well get used to it. So he bought one. They're pretty nice.
Yeah,
they're pretty nice.
Yeah, no, I had a SIG on my second deployment, a P229, I want to say it was, and that was really nice.
Nice.
The SIGs are sick. I really want just like a 9mm. The first gun I ever bought was a Springfield XD 40 caliber, 5-inch, way too big of a gun. Like the first gun I was gonna buy, I was like, just give me the big one. Yeah. And ammo's expensive. It doesn't make any sense to have, and I really want to trade it in. But the 9mm 6 hours are sick. I really like those.
Nice.
Yeah, they are.
That one came from Gimpin' Ain't Easy. Gimpin' Ain't Easy, thank you for writing in today. I'm going to let that be it. I just want to say huge thank you to our guest, Tyler Butterworth, today, man. It means so much to you tuned in with us.
Yeah, buddy.
Do you have
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Do you have anything before you go that you want to plug or that tee up or just where people can find you on a daily basis?
Nothing to plug or tee up. Butterworth to Syrup on all the platforms if you want to go check out my stuff. But the only thing I would say is that, not to sound like Mr. Rogers or anything, but there's a lot of negativity out there on the internet. And one, you don't have to believe everything that's out there, and you don't need to consume all the negative stuff. There's plenty of positive stuff out there that you can listen to.
Facts.
So focus on that, not the negative stuff.
Man,
that's great.
I love that. I'm going to carry that with me for the rest of the week, man. Hey,
wait, can you repeat that?
Yeah, I'll just write it all down. Hey, I want to thank you guys for tuning into the show this week. Episode 21 kind of had to fraggo a little bit and run it on my show, but it'll be available everywhere you normally listen to the show this week. Want to thank Cody also for being my ride or die once again. Always killing it. And thank you again to Tyler. Want to wish you guys Baja blessings over all your little heads.
Many Baja blessings.
Many Baja blessings. Have a good week. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to The Hardpoint with Onexpunchxdad and Code Roams. For more, check us out on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.